Yes, yes. I had breakfast at the last just after the last meeting because it's now 10 a.m. or 10:30 in Australia where I live. So yes, fairly early in the morning for me, but it's never too early to do synth stuff. Of course. My original idea was that we would have a couple of people joining this Zoom call, and that I would be remote hands because a lot of times when I manage the A modular forum for this format, and a lot of people that haven't bought one yet want to know how it sounds like. And of course, there are now a lot of videos on YouTube where you can listen to and see what it sounds like. But then people have, oh, I wish I would know how this patch would sound like, or if I could do this on turn this knob, and how does that work? And so I had the idea of doing a live stream where I am remote hands, and people could direct me to put a patch cable where they want and turn a knob that they want to turn, but can't because I don't have a system. So that was my idea of this workshop. That you know maybe even like an improv theater, everyone would kind of just chip in and together we would create a performance. That was my original idea. But for that to work, obviously, you would need a few people to join, which we don't have at the moment. But as an improv, we can just change the thing around. And instead, because there's no one else on the Zoom call at the moment, I can just do a patch from scratch and show you how I go about to do music when I do that. So that's probably the alternative here. Um, Maybe I start with a little bit of an introduction. I'm Carsten. uh, cool. Um, Otherwise, let's just start and just giving you a quick introduction about myself. I'm Carsten. I live in Australia, in regional Australia, actually, far away from all big cities. And I've started making music with synthesizers in January last year, so not that long ago, only 2 years. I play no other instruments. I've tried to learn the guitar and the piano and just never worked because I was too lazy to do my exercises. And I don't know, my focus isn't long enough to learn music theory and things like that. So I always struggled. But once I had my first synthesizer, which is the A modular system, which you see behind me, except that it wasn't that big when I started, it was much smaller and much less modules. I started making sounds with that and really loved it and started my YouTube channel, The Fifth Volt. And there's probably a link there on the website to that as well. And it shows you my journey of how I create sounds. I also do video tutorials on these modules, and I also have created the A Modular Forum, the community forum for people that own an A Modular and make music with it. And yeah, that's been my journey for the last 2 years. Really, really cool being in that with these people in that community, and I'm also helping Robert with a bit of the promotion and marketing and communications. Um, and yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. So in this workshop, I wanted people to tell me what to do, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen now that there's not many people here. So let me just quickly check the YouTube if there's anyone in the chat. No, so um, because there's no one there directing me or giving me any hints, I'll just do something from scratch myself, and I have no idea what's coming out of it. I have no idea whether it will sound good. I'm not sure which genre it will be. Um, I'll just show you my process of how I explore and come up with a patch basically by accident. Um, and I'll just switch over to my camera and will show you my system that I have here next to me. And I will change the audio so that you can hear what the system does. And yeah, let's take it from there. And is that okay, Hector? Okay, let's shift over to that. And also I need to change the audio as well. Here we go. Okay, so you should hear me now through a microphone that is attached to my mixer. That's right next to the modular. So there will be a little bit of a hall, a reverb in the room because of that. I hope you can all understand me, but that's the only way how I can get my voice and the modular together into the Zoom call. Okay, so I wanted to start with a completely empty system, but it's not always completely empty, right? So there are a few things here that I always pre-patch before I start. The first thing is that I take my audio out from the 4IO module. The top thing here is a little bit dodgy, so I'm using the third one from the top. So this is a stereo connection, and I'm getting a left and right signal from my multi-FX module. And the multi-FX module is kind of the end stage before it goes out into the mixer. Then I have two mixers here at the top. The 4-at mix is my mixer that is basically that all the other mixers go into. So this is only being used to get the signal from mixer number 1, number 2, and number 3 that are down here. And they are all turned on full level because I will then change the individual mixing levels on each submixer, so to speak. So this is how I usually start. So I have a good audio setup already ready to go, and I don't have to mid-patch think about, I need another mixer. How do I set this up? The next thing is, of course, in a modular system, you never know, how it sounds like until you patch something. So what I do now is I always have a very simple patch. In this case, I'm just using the output of the wavetables module, going straight into the mixer, and when I turn it on, I should hear that sound. So, of course, I was cheating a little bit. It's not just the output of the wavetable modules, but I'm also applying a little bit of modulation already on the wave modifier here with an LFO, because a wavetable module really shines if you scan through the wavetable. So in this module, I have selected wavetable number 3, and with an LFO that is attached into the wave modifier, so the LFO is coming from here, and giving the wave modifier knob a little bit of a depth, I can actually scan through the different waveforms and I get already a bit of a movement. If I take that away, so if I turn the modifier knob all the way to the left, then it sounds quite static. So there's no movement in there, and that to me is a little bit boring. So I always want to have some kind of movement, in this case with scanning through the wavetable. So here I have a little bit of a drone going on. So that's interesting. Maybe I stick with the drone, or maybe I go into something that's more rhythmical. If it's more rhythmical, then I might want to apply some more modulation to that signal. So if I wanted to do that, I would take the output of the wavetable, not straight into the mixer, but I would take it, for instance, into a VCA, so that I can shape the amplitude of that output. So let's do that. So, and then I go straight from the VCA back into the mixer. Okay, so now we hear nothing, not just because the mixer volume is down, but also because a VCA needs a voltage control in order to do something. So the best way to do that is to give it an envelope. So let's put in an envelope. So I have a couple of envelopes here in the system, 1 and 2. These are dual envelopes, so I have 4 envelopes just in this little section right here. And I'll just pick one of them, doesn't matter which one. And now I still hear no sound because an envelope, which is a rising and a falling kind of shape, needs a trigger to start. So let's use a trigger for that. And that already takes us into rhythmical territory. So we need something that triggers it continuously. And often when we do that, we could talk about a clock. So I would want to have a clock, basically. So what I do is I take this LFO at the bottom here, and this is a bit broken. I actually destroyed this little switch here, so it can only go in a sawtooth form, which isn't very useful for me most of the time. So I use this LFO as a master clock. And what I do is, in wise anticipation of things to come, I put that straight into a multiple. So putting it into multiple means that I can use this clock in many different other modules where I might need a clock. So let's take that into, let's say, this sequencer here. And now I have a sequence running, but I still hear nothing because the envelope still isn't triggering. So let's trigger the envelope from the gate of the sequence. Okay. Okay, so now we just have to turn on . So suddenly our whole atmosphere has changed just by introducing the rhythmical modulation through the envelope. And it sounds just, it's a different thing now. I really also still like the drone though. So what I do is I just take the drone sound and take that out again. And the beauty of a modular system is that most modules have multiple outs for things. So here the wavetable has 3 outputs that give me the same signal. And what I want to do here is I want to take that into another VCO and just, or even, let's put it into a filter. I want to take that into a filter and slowly shape the filter so it moves in and out as a drone. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I take that filter output and put this into another channel on my mixer, and then turning that on. Okay, so you heard that I had to really work on this frequency knob here to get some kind of modulation, which is not ideal. I want things automated. So I just introduce another automation here by putting in another slow-moving LFO that changes that filter for me. So let's just do that. So I put a cable into the CV1 input, which is the voltage control for the cutoff frequency. And I put this into another LFO. I have another one here. And I put that into, again, triangle wave. And as with any module that uses voltage control, you have a knob here that regulates how much of the voltage signal you will get into the module. So here I want a fair bit. And this is the process. You have to fine-tune those knobs. To get that movement. Okay, so we're using the one oscillator in 2 different configurations with different modulations. So that's already, I think, sounding not too bad. Let's see what else we can put in. So another thing would be nice to have something that changes the pitch a little bit. So pitch changes for me are always very risky because I actually have no idea about music theory or what pitch sounds good. So it's always a lot of experimentation getting something that actually works. So an easy one to put under is usually the Selena string module because that gives me chords and is already a bit pad-like. And if you put that in and out of the mix, again using a VCA and some LFO with it, then I might be able to achieve something that's not too bad sounding. So let's take that. So I'm taking the output of the Selena string module into a VCA and putting that into channel number 3 here. And I'm using this VCA because I want to move the Selena in and out of the mix without having to turn knobs. So again, I'm using another LFO, and that's why I think Myla Melody said that in one of his videos. You can never have too many VCAs, and you can never have too many LFOs. Okay, so let's take that LFO. So this cable is too short. So taking this input here and putting that into this LFO at the bottom here. Now this is on, let's put it on slow and put this on triangle and see how that sounds like. Okay. Okay, so that needs some tuning. Okay, so the easiest way to tune that is, because the LFO is putting it in and out and I'm already always chasing the signal, take another output of the Selena and just for tuning, putting it into another channel, so I can have that constantly on. Okay, that's not atrocious, so I leave it at that tuning. People with perfect pitch, I feel sorry for you because it will hurt you, but for me it sounds okay. So I leave that, and now I can turn that Selena in and out of the mix with the VCA. Okay, here's another problem. The problem is that I want the Selena to sound all the time and not completely disappear and then slowly fade in, because an LFO gives me 0 to 5 volts back to 0, and I want something that is centered around 2.5 volts and just kind of goes a bit lower and then a bit higher. But not completely disappear and not be completely loud. So because my LFO always goes from 0 to 0, there's no way how I can make the Selena always on without using a different module. So what I do now is, instead of using the LFO as it is on the VCA, I'm actually putting that into a module called the CV tool. So you can see that here. The CV tool gives me exactly that. It can give me a modulation that centers around an offset And then I give a little bit of a level that centers, either adds or subtracts from the offset. So if I do that, and I'm using a smaller, shorter cable for this, because I have to preserve my long cables. If I do that, then I can achieve the Selena going in and out of the mix, but not completely disappearing, which is really what I'm after. So just the output of the CV tool then goes into this VCA here. And if I do that, so now you can hear that the Selena is just slightly coming in and out of the mix, but never completely disappearing. Okay, so this is getting a little bit dark. As I said before, I really don't know where my explorations take me, and you start with a low note, and then it kind of just becomes dark. And so how about we now add something that is a bit higher in pitch and but still kind of fits to that. And what I find is that the Soulbox module is another really nice drone module that you can use to add a little bit texture to it. And what I'll do is I just see how that sounds like by itself, and then we see how we can modulate it or change the pitch to see how that fits into everything. So I put that on channel number 4 here, and just have a listen to how that sounds like. So this is very low. Let's go and change the pitch of that. So that's really nice. Now, what we can do is we can modulate the pitch maybe, and let's use the pitch output of the sequence here and see if that creates something that is usable. And I don't know. So that's the fun of it. You have an idea and then you try it out and you find, that's not really working for me, or maybe you just have to change a little bit to make it work. So let's add the pitch that's coming out of here into that as well. But because I'm actually not good with listening to pitches at all, I take the pitch output and I put this through a quantizer. So I need a longer cable here. So I take the sequence raw output, which is exactly what these buttons will do, and I put this into the input of the quantizer, and then I take the output of the quantizer and put that into the pitch control of the saw box. So put that in and let's listen how that sounds like. The beauty of this quantizer is that it has 4 different channels. So you can see here that there are 4 channels for inputs and 4 output channels, but all the 4 channels are on the same scale. So whatever you put in here on the scale, that's what you will get out of all of them, but you can have different input voltages coming from different sequencers and then going out to different modules. But then everything will be in the correct scale, which is really nice. So let me just have a quick look at participants, just so that I see that there's no one waiting. I think we should be fine. Yep, so no one's waiting to join the Zoom call, so I just keep on going. And we don't know yet how that sounds because I have to turn this on. Not bad. You saw that I adjusted the multi-FX a little bit because I had it on the deep space reverb, which is really deep and just kind of muddles everything up. So I took that down a bit into a smaller room reverb and also took the wet signal a little bit down so I can hear more of the sawbox. So now I think the sequence sounds actually pretty good, but I don't know if it sounds good in relation to everything else that I've patched up. So let's try the bass sequence first. Not bad, it fits actually, so I'm surprised. So let's try how that sounds like with the Selena. Horrible. Let me just quickly have a look what's going on out there. There's some noise, so just be with you in 1 minute. Okay, so there's quite the storm outside. So that's interesting. It's very, very hot today and very, very strong wind. And that's always a bit scary because of bushfires. I know on the west coast of the Americas, you've had quite big bushfires, and we had very, very big bushfires at the beginning of this year. Actually, they came very, very close to my town, so I'm always on the lookout when there's strong winds and high temperatures. But anyway, I think we should be okay now. So this sound and this obviously doesn't work together. So I could change this, or I could change this. And because I know that my sawbox works really well with those sounds, I probably have to adjust the Selena. So let's do that. Okay, so that all sounds really nice together, so I'm quite surprised at this. So what would be nice now, because we do have a little bit of a rhythmic thing here, is to maybe add more things that add to the rhythm on different beats. So to do that, I could either go into my drum section at the top here, where I have a kick, an analog kick module and a lo-fi digital drum kit. Or I could build something else from noise or whatever. And today I thought I might take the noise module and create a bit of a whoosh that comes in different times, because it kind of fits in the atmosphere, I think. So what I'll do is I'll take the output of my noise module down here, and I put this into a filter. Filter is usually good for noise, because a filter adds more character to what would otherwise be not so interesting. So I just put that into my wasp filter here. And let's take the wasp filter into another mixer at the top here, because I've used all the channels on this bottom mixer here. So let's go to the mixer at the top here, which is usually my drum mix anyway. And let's hear that. So that's just as stormy as it is outside. So that's good. That's a good start. But we want, obviously, the filter to open and close. So we need more modulation. So if you are sick of hearing the word modulation, then you shouldn't be in modular synthesis, because that's what it's all about. So I take the cutoff frequency of the filter and I put this into another envelope. And I have enough envelopes here, so there's no problem there. I just take that envelope here. And now I need to see if that changes anything. So I just want to take maybe that out here. So this is the output here. And okay, so that was very loud. Sorry about that. And also too much. Okay, good to have a button on the envelope envelope so you can test things out. Okay, so let's see that I get the envelope triggered by something. So we have a clock, and we also, I put this into the multi here so I can use this in other ways. So I could use, for instance, a trigger sequence at the top here, and I have 3 different ones. But for now, we can also use the individual trigger outputs at the sequencer here, and we have 8 steps. So I can choose each one of those to trigger my envelope with that little, with that sound, with that noise. So let's do that. I just take that on the 4 and put this in the trigger gate of the envelope here. So that is gate number 2. So I don't know why that is a trigger twice. So that's not really what I wanted. So let's take another trigger. So I go for my multi, and I go into my trigger sequencer here at the top. The trig 164 is a good one because it gives me individual control over each individual step, but I need a longer cable to reach. So let's go from the output of that into my envelope that I'm using here. So take that. And I'm on track number 1, and there's some funky rhythm there. Let's make that less funky. So I can't see that from here. Okay. So now how does it? Okay, so I don't like the sound at all. It sounds like a whelping dog or something like that, and I'm not sure why I even wanted this. So either we have to choose a different sound, or we have to change the filter or something, but I don't like that at all. So what I'll do is I choose a different sound for this. And what is a really nice, cool sound is actually an MS-20 filter in resonance mode can go very deep. So let's try that as a kind of a bass drum or something like that. So take the output of the MS-20, can use an even shorter cable for this. And in the A modular format, cables are color-coded by length, which is really nice. So take the output of this and put this into the envelope. So the cutoff frequency of that goes into the envelope that we just had. So taking that out, and it's really fast. And then we see how that sounds. So that gives us a nice, deep, bassy sound, and I think that sounds much nicer. And let's see what the rhythm here is. That's too funky. Okay, so that's really cool. The only problem is that you always hear a little bit of the filter coming through, which is kind of a very low drone. So this was actually not bad where this is heading. I think we're slowly running out of time here. So what I would work on next would be possibly a very, very bright, very high lead sound. and that's the hardest to do because they would have to fit from the pitch, and you would want to change the pitch a little bit so it doesn't get too boring. And possibly it could be played with the keyboard. Um, yeah, so I don't want to get into that now because it will take too much time. So I think I call it quits here. Let's have a listen to that one more time of what we've put together here. So maybe in a little bit of a performance. So now that we have all the different voices together, the next thing would be to practice how do they fit together into a set when you want to either record this, like I do for my YouTube channel, or if you want to play this live. How do you start and how do you end? And the biggest problem of all, which is my biggest problem, is what do you put in the middle? So let's start maybe with something like this. So that was a short performance with the patch that we came up with during this session. I really had no idea where to take this to start with. I just started with one module. It kind of branched out. I added things to it. I added modulation. try to get things in pitch, try to make things work with each other, and yeah, probably a few more hours on this with a few more different voices that you can put in and out would make it a longer set, a more interesting set. Um, but it's a good starting point, and yeah, I hope you guys learned something from this. Please let me know if you think I could improve on anything here. If you have techniques that you do to make longer sets, more interesting melody lines, I would love to know. Please let me know what you think about this, and I'd love to start a conversation. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I will now switch back to the camera view and the other microphone to yeah, wrap this up. So let's see how we do here. Okay, so I'm back. Yes, sure. So I'll just put the link here in the chat. So that's just forum.amodular.com. And that links to all the other things that are available. We also have a wiki, which includes documentation for every single module in the system. There's also a grid where you can plan your rack. Both of these have been made by people from the community, especially the grid. Really, really happy that some really talented developer in the community just came forward and created this online web application where you can plan your rack just like Modular Grid, but for the A modular. Really, really nice. And please also check out our album. So that is the Ether Waves. If you want to listen to what other people are doing with the synth, that is an amazing achievement. We have 26 tracks on that, all 100% done with the A modular. I just put you the link for that as well here in the chat. So that is etherwaves.bandcamp.com. Again, so many talented musicians, most of them much more talented than I am. And I'm so happy that I can work with them together and communicate with them on the forum. I'm learning a lot. And everyone out there who listens to this video, um, if you have an A modular system, please chime in on the forum. If you plan on getting an A modular forum, but you have any questions, please contact me or join the forum and ask your questions there. We're always happy to answer any question. That's it for me. I hope that was okay. Hector, how's everything over at yours? Absolutely. I hope that sometime in the future I might be there in person. That would be awesome. uh, anyway, we'll see how things happen. Exactly. Okay, all the best to you guys. Thanks so much for organizing this. I think you've done an amazing job, and I know it's hard. You think you have maybe not enough people participating, but it will come. Just don't give up. Keep doing this, and it will steadily grow. Always remember, Synth Booth was just a bunch of people when they start. Super Booth in Berlin was just a bunch of people when they started. So, maybe 100 maximum. And last year there were, I think 5,000 or more people there. So keep at it and it will grow. That's it. Okay. Okay, bye bye.